All right, let's go over to our running back bounce backs, all provided by Mr. Eisenberg. Jonathan Taylor, RB1 in 2021, RB16 per game in 2022. J.K. Dobbins really just couldn't quite get healthy, and it was so annoying the way he was used down the stretch. And then Damien Harris went from RB20 per game to RB51 per game. I was surprised to see Damien Harris on this list. All right, give me the rundown here. Taylor, Dobbins, Harris.
Well, Taylor wants to fight Herbert and Heath's free space rankings of the top bounce back candidate. Because, I mean, clearly if he stays healthy, there's plenty of upside. I mean, you can certainly see the downside, too, with an inexperienced quarterback, whatever route they're going to go, unless they swing the big trade to get Lamar Jackson, which is, I think, still being rumored, but probably unlikely at this point. But rookie quarterback, new play caller. I do think the fact that it's Shane Steichen, will help Jonathan Taylor, hopefully, in the passing game a little bit more if they go that route. But he's clearly going to be the focal point of the offense, understandably so. And if he's just healthy, I think that lends itself to him being in the top 5 conversation as a position.
Okay. And where exactly do you have him?
I struggle between him and Barkley at the 3-4 spot. They're behind McCaffrey and behind Eckler, at least at this point. But top 5.
Heath, Barkley, or Taylor?
Yeah, I've got Taylor one spot behind Barkley at 4th.
Okay. J.K. Dobbins, Jamie.
Well, I think it's, almost the theory of, 2 years removed from the ACL and other knee situation that he was dealing with, but the ACL tear and just hopefully being healthy. And I think that's just a big part of it. We saw flashes last year of him just looking amazing when he came back from the second procedure that he had and just hopefully being 100%. I think this is his year to, I think, take a step forward. We're not going to see a big involvement in the passing game, which is clearly going to, hold down his ceiling. But I don't think Gus Edwards is going to be a guy that's going to ruin him completely. I don't think they're going to add to their backfield in a significant way. And I just think he's one of these guys that we quietly overlook, just based on the expectations of I'm going to throw him in the second year guys, but Travis Etienne and Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall and those guys. And where does Javonte Williams go? And the older crew of Mixon and Dalvin Cook and Kamara, we just don't really talk a lot about J.K. Dobbins. And I think he's going to have a pretty solid season for the draft value that you'll be able to get him at, especially if Lamar Jackson's there.
So he went a few weeks ago in our draft. He went after Miles Sanders, after Dameon Pierce, Miles Sanders, and just before Cam Akers and Isaiah Pacheco. So it went Pierce, Sanders, Dobbins, Akers, Pacheco. Thoughts?
The only one for me would be Sanders.
Yeah, I'd rather have Sanders and Pierce, and I'd definitely rather have Dobbins over Akers.
Jamie, you'd rather have Dobbins over Dameon Pierce?
No. Pierce, Dobbins, Sanders of the guys you listed.
Oh, okay, I get it. Okay. Pierce, Dobbins, Sanders, and Heath, I'm sorry. You did like Pierce. Did you also like Sanders ahead of Dobbins?
Yeah, I think I'm higher on Sanders.
Okay. And then Damien Harris. Interesting choice here for a bounce back.
Well, I mean, clearly health is a part of this. He was very banged up last season, but I do think the change of scenery will hopefully help him. I mean, I think if he's anything close to what he was 2 years ago, going based on what Sean McDermott said about wanting a bigger back with speed and maybe not loving James Cook in that featured role, I don't know if he's going to score 15 touchdowns again, but I think he's got a chance to, maybe be the lead running back in Buffalo. And so just getting an opportunity here to, compete with a guy that may not be a first and second down type of rusher on an offense that I know hasn't exactly featured their running backs very much. But, again, the conversation coming out of Arizona from the owners' meetings was maybe Josh Allen runs a little bit less. Maybe he gets a few of those goal line opportunities. Maybe that's what they were missing. Why Josh Allen was getting a lot of those rushing touchdowns was a more physical presence in the backfield over Devin Singletary, over, an often injured Zach Moss, and Damien Harris is that type of guy. Again, not someone you should invest heavily in, but not a bad third running back that could hopefully turn to a flex and maybe more if James Cook doesn't materialize into the player that we hope he can become.
Yeah, it's interesting with Damien Harris because in 2021, he was the number 20 running back per game in PPR, but he was number 12 per game in non-PPR. And then in 2022, he only played 4 games before he got hurt. In those 4 games, he was the number 21 running back per game in PPR. number 17 in non-PPR. So he's always going to need the touchdowns, but he's been a good running back. And by the way, he did that those first 4 games. He had 53 carries. Ramondre Stevenson had 43 carries. So it's not like he was the only guy. He split. He was scoring the touchdowns, and he was basically as productive as he was the year before in terms of PPR per game finish. Then after the injury, he couldn't stay healthy. He lost the job basically to Stevenson. All right. So those are some running backs. Anything to add, Heath, on Taylor, Dobbins, or Damien Harris?
I think Harris for me feels the most like the Rodgers-Wilson, not going to bounce all the way back to what he did, but is going to be better than he was last year.
Perfect.